Welcome to The Sound, KQAL FM's weekly behind-the-scenes look at Midwestern-made music. From writing and recording to distribution and promotion, The Sound is your source for new releases and exclusive interviews from Midwestern artists. Support for The Sound is made possible by a grant from the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund. Rolling.
Tonight, on The Sound, we sit down with Dylan Mazurkiewicz, the lead singer and guitarist of Garden Home, to dig into their self-titled debut full-length album. Garden Home, self-described as a post-hardcore screamo rock band, has grown quite a following in their native home of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and this album is sure to sprout some more. Their debut album consists of 8 heart-pounding, head-banging, mosh pit-forming tracks that warrant more than a second listen. The lyrics themselves tackle some serious topics, but make sure to sprinkle in a little bit of sunshine that reflects lead singer Dylan Mazurkiewicz's mental health journey. Tonight, we talk with Dylan a bit about this journey, as well as the band's experience recording their first full-length album, and dive deeper into the band's love for their home city. I'm Abby Hawkey, urging you to keep your green thumbs up and your rock signs up as we bring you the debut self-titled album by Garden Home, tonight on The Sound. I'm Abby Hawkey. You're listening to KQAL 89.5. I'm currently on the phone with Dylan Mazurkiewicz, who is the lead singer and guitarist for the band Garden Home, which is a post-hardcore screamo rock band from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The song that you just listened to was Right By Me, which is the first track from their debut full-length album. And so first of all, how are you doing today, Dylan?
Hello. Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm actually leave for a international trip tomorrow for 2 weeks, so I'm happy to be squeezing this in before I'm out seeing the world.
Yeah, that's awesome. Where are you going, by the way?
I'm going to Peru.
Ooh.
My partner is half native Peruvian, so this is a big homecoming trip for her and some of her family members. So it's gonna be really cool. We're doing the whole Machu Picchu thing. I'm gonna be screaming about aliens the whole time we're there, and Yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool.
That sounds awesome. I'm happy for you. I personally I've been to Europe before, but never Peru. But yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, this is certainly my furthest south I'll ever be.
Well, never say never, but
Yeah, right.
so first of all, tell me a bit about the origins of Garden Home. How did you guys meet?
That's a good question. I guess it starts in the high school years for two of our guys. Back in mid 2000s. The drummer in the band, JD, just short for John Doyle.
Mm-hmm.
He and our guitar player Mike Holloway started going to high school together. We're in like a band together in the high school days. I believe JD's always been a drummer and Mike has always played guitar. But they definitely had a lot of things in common on a music taste level. Like I know they loved like Blink-182 and Alkaline Trio back then. And then JD and I met more in the college years. He was going to school at UWGB in Green Bay, which is where I'm from. We had met at a party there and hit it off. And then I moved to Milwaukee, and that's where I met Mike also at a party. And JD was like, "That's so crazy. That's like a childhood friend of mine." And then so we all started hanging out more then. And then at that time, Mike was in another band with our now bass player, Mitch Pratt. So that's how those two already knew each other. So Mike is definitely like largely the connecting bond for a lot of us. But we all were just like friends for a long time, drinking buddies, and all definitely had a shared music taste. But yeah, sometime around like 2014, we had a conversation about starting a band. And at that time, the band had one more member. We were a different name. And when that member left is when we became Garden Home. We changed our name, kind of changed our sound, and that was like 2017.
That's awesome. I like how you guys were kind of all linked together in a way, how it kind of sort of went a bit full circle there for a moment there.
Yeah, for sure.
So about the name, how did you guys decide on the name Garden Home? Like, where did that come from?
The previous band name we had was like a nod to a Milwaukee thing. It was the name of one of the animals at the Milwaukee Zoo. And I don't know, for whatever reason, we were like, well, let's try to keep that like Milwaukee tie. And for whatever reason, I was like scrolling around a map of Milwaukee, like probably just on Google, and zooming into like weird neighborhoods. And I think I was trying to find like street names that I found interesting. And I ended up finding this neighborhood called the Garden Homes District. And I like pitched that. And I think at the time I suggested having it stay plural, like Garden Homes. And the guys all said it should be singular. And then when we kind of started like leaning into that, I like did some research, and it turns out that the Garden Home District in Milwaukee is one of the first like public housing areas, that was like more government assistance to like help lower income families. We were one of the first cities to have one of those, and now they're kind of like all over the country. There are like Garden Home is the style of house now. And it kind of also just plays into that. My partner and I are very green thumbed. We have a lot of plants in the house and maintain a garden out back. So there's a lot of, I felt like there was some easy messaging there. Yeah,
I love that. I love how how kind of deep that the name is. I have a bit of a green thumb myself. My mom is actually going to school right now to be a horticulturalist, so
cool.
She loves plants. Yeah, that's super cool.
A couple of us eat, like, I can't say we're vegan. I don't think anyone's die hard enough to say that, but we eat pretty plant-based, and I knew it was like important to keep some sense of like being organic in either like lyrics or messaging, or not having a bunch of like like a backtrack or like computer generated stuff along with the music. That I wanted to be very much what we made with our own hands type of thing.
Yeah. So, when it comes to living in Milwaukee, how has that found its way into your music?
It's a good question. Every band has to start off on a local level for sure. And before the pandemic, I mean, we maybe only had like a solid year of doing the current Garden Home project before the pandemic happened. We put out an EP in 2019 called Disposable, and then the pandemic started and we kind of took like a year off, not even really necessarily on purpose, but just that's how life was moving at the time. And certainly weren't like shows getting booked or anything. And in 2021, when like vaccines started rolling around and stuff, we had an opportunity to open up for Modern Life is War, which was notably going to be one of the largest bands we had out open for at the time. And we had a couple new songs we had written as we were starting to get like prepared for the show. And we like quickly assembled them, self-recorded them, and put them out before that show. So that's what became our Postmortem EP. And on there's a song called Ghost. That is a pretty direct nod to living in Milwaukee. Granted, I wrote that in 2020 when things were dark here and in the world. And there's definitely a lot of aggression towards, it's not even Milwaukee specific, but again, I really like organic and natural things. And I had this increasing anxiety that I was going to die in Milwaukee or be buried somewhere here, or, just be surrounded by all this concrete and fake stuff. And that was giving me a lot of dread at the time. So there's a line about, I'll drive my car into Lake Michigan. Cause I was thinking about it one day when I was driving over a big bridge we have along the lake here. And a lot of people like really connected with that. But yeah, there's a line at the end of the song that says, don't leave me in Milwaukee. And it's just, more so me crying there are other places I hope to spend eternity, I guess. However, I want to quickly follow that up with post-pandemic, our music scene has really had a renaissance. Local bands are selling out several 100-person venues in town, and people are excited to get out to shows again. And we have been vocal about really caring about supporting and interacting with our community. And, so I have to give a shout out to Milwaukee for that it's not all bad. I don't want my message to be that thing from 4 years ago, because truly like our city is doing a lot of cool things in music and in art. And that is definitely where I would care to put our focus.
Yeah. And it is also important to understand that, everybody goes through hard times. Every band goes through hard times. The world goes through hard times. And but that doesn't necessarily mean that it is always going to be that way. So I see that too in your music and in this album itself.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I definitely wanted to have a sense of hope. I am admittedly in my 30s, and I've just wanted to have a focus on not just putting out another, no offense to anybody else, but I didn't want to put out another emo record. I feel like all the I hate myself stuff has been done a lot, and I feel like I wanted to work in messaging about how it's not always so bad, and that, if you are willing to put in the work, things can and will get better. So I needed to get that across.
Yeah. My name is Abby Hawkey. You're listening to 89.5 KQAL's The Sound. I am joined here by Dylan Mazurkiewicz of post-hardcore screamo band Garden Home. And this next song that I will be playing for you is Grim, which is on their new debut full-length album, self-titled. That's here for you on 89.5 KQAL.
I've got news to share, and I'm hoping you're doing well. I love you. I miss you. Call me.
That was Grim by Garden Home here on 89.5 KQAL. I am Abby Hawkey, and you are listening to The Sound. We are here tonight with Dylan Mazurkiewicz, who is the lead singer and guitarist for Garden Home, and he is here to discuss their new album, self-titled. So yeah, getting back to the questions, let's talk a little bit more about your writing and song process. What does that look like for you? Is there a specific way that you start, or like something that you draw a lot of inspiration from?
Yeah. As far as the instrumentation, writing all of the music itself, I often refer to our guitar player Mike as our riff daddy. He definitely is the one that spawns a lot of the music itself, usually showing up to practice with sometimes just a riff. Sometimes it's like 4 riffs, that he's already like, hey, I know these are going to work together. We just need to assemble them. And our drummer, JD, is really good about like, oh, yeah, we'll do this transition here, or maybe this can build up right here and we go into the next part. And so there's definitely a lot of collaboration that goes into structuring the songs. And then, usually our bass player, Pratt, and I will, participate in not only that as well, but also I feel like the thing he and I bring is, okay, like, yeah, we're playing that for like 4 times the same way right there. Like, let's play it a little different right here, change it up a little. And so we definitely really collaborate on writing all the music. It's all written together in the same room. And when it comes to lyrics and stuff, that all has fallen on me. A lot of, at least for this record itself, a lot of the lyrical inspiration is pulled from, not only life events of my own coming out of the pandemic, losing, loved ones and family and stuff, especially speaking of Grim. It's a pretty direct nod to that. But I also started going to see a therapist in 2021, and that definitely is where a lot of the hope I'm trying to get across comes from, and not just have this like focus on negativity. So yeah, it's definitely, I tried to encourage a growth-based mindset throughout the length of the record.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I myself am a psychology major, so I'm learning all about the head and mental processes and things like that. So I think it's really cool that not only are you going to therapy, but that you're also implementing some of those that mindfulness into your songwriting itself. I know that you guys, as you said, you're really into bringing up other bands and things like that, who are also like in the Milwaukee area, who are like up and coming and deserve to have their voices and their bands heard. Do you guys ever go to any of them for help when it comes to writing your songs?
Good question. A little yes, a little no. I guess the 2 sides of the coin for me are, we joined a label with this record. We got on Thumbs Up Records, and that has brought a cool community to us in that there are a bunch of other bands on this label, and it's cool. It's not like we're all competing. It's definitely more of like a community space, and we all want each other to succeed because one of us is doing well. Typically all of us are going to benefit from that. And I've sent leaks and tracks and stuff to other people for opinions on, but I would say largely like the songs are already pretty fleshed out by the point I'm sharing them with somebody. With this record in particular, I grew up when like metalcore was like really popular, and it was, a million features on every song, and some of that was really cool. Like there was some tracks with really cool guest features, but that idea to me got pretty like beat to death. And I had this weird sense of pride as we were making the record, being like, nah, this is just us. This is unfiltered Garden Home. That's why we self-titled it. was like we didn't have a lot of like outside influence directing this particular project. We wanted something that really captured who we are, what we were doing. Granted, the one nod I have to give is to the guy who recorded and mixed the record is Cody Ratley. He's in a band called Shame Wave and World I Hate. And throughout the record, you can hear moments of influence from him as well. So that's probably the most we let anybody in on this record in particular.
Yeah. I love the fact that you guys are like, keeping it personal, and especially for a self-titled album. I think that's awesome. Your songs, I know we've already talked about this a little bit, but your songs are pretty raw and vulnerable sounding, and also, just in both lyrical and also just like how they're kind of structured and guitar riffs and things like that. Is there a specific reason why you guys gravitate towards producing this kind of music with these kinds of topics? Is there something specific that you hope that your audience can take away from listening to songs like this?
Yeah, I feel like, in particular on the record itself, part of the sound we were trying to capture is our live sound to an extent. Mike works at a guitar store, a music store, and it's given us access to a lot of good equipment. And so over the pandemic, our live sound got really developed and just loud. Like we just figured out how to be loud and have a lot of energy. And I feel like part of, what I guess I'll call our success regionally is that, the word of mouth, I think, has gone around that we have a good live show. People feel the energy. They like participating. And a lot of the stuff we were playing for a long time wasn't even out yet. It was on this record that was coming out. And I really wanted the record to sound like how we do live. And that's something that we've gotten praised for is, wow, this is like really sounds like how you guys do live. Or they hear the record and then they see us live and they're like, oh my God, you guys sound a lot like the record. And I'm like, well, yeah, that was us. I mean, there's no, we pretty intentionally didn't do anything electronic, like bass drops and stuff like that. We wanted it to be things that we were able to actually recreate live. So that's definitely part of it. And then, lyrically, I feel like it plays well into that. Our music is inherently dynamic, and I wanted the lyrics to be that way too, where they can be really heavy, crashing, dark moments, but there are also these like moments of brightness and light that come in, and I kind of feel like that's just life, and I feel like that was kind of what we were trying to capture a little bit is human experience to an extent, like I have a line on the record that's on the worst of it that is feel the worst of it, make the most of it. And I feel like that ended up being the like rally cry for the entire record was, yeah, things can be hard, but I am stubborn and I don't accept that. And it was definitely largely about, a better world is possible in that sense. And some of it is just based on your outlook.
Yeah. That song that you're referring to, the worst of it, is actually my favorite song from the record. So that's really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm Abby Hawkey. You're listening to KQAL 89.5. I am joined here by Dylan Mazurkiewicz of the post-hardcore screamo band Garden Home. And this next song that I have for you is going to be Not Today, which is off of their debut full-length album, which is self-titled. Once again, this is Not Today on 89.5 KQAL.
Crush my throat, leave my heart. I stand here
Once again, that was Not Today by Garden Home here on 89.5 KQAL. I am Abby Hawkey, and you are listening to The Sound. We are here with Dylan Mazurkiewicz, who is the lead singer and guitarist for the wonderful band Garden Home, to discuss their new album, which is self-titled. So tell me a bit about the story behind Not Today. How did that song come about?
That was one of the last songs we wrote for the record. The first and last songs were the final two written, and I believe this one came before it. That was a fun one because that was one Mike came to practice with, like a riff he was really excited about. He wasn't sure how we were going to make it work, and we all definitely participated in crafting that one. We definitely, on a music level, ventured out of our usual comfort zone a little bit, and there's like blast beats throughout the record or throughout that song, and we just kind of kept joking like, all right, this is the one to send it on. And you know, throughout the writing process, there were times where I had a chunk of lyrics that I knew I was already sitting on, but I wanted to maybe save some of them for songs that I was excited about, and this was one of them. And so lyrically, that song is largely about when you're kind of screwing up in a relationship and you know you're screwing up. It's probably a relatable feeling for most. I hope I'm not alone there, but it's like, yeah, like I this person is so good to me, and I know that they deserve the world, but I am so in my own way that I can't even give them that because I'm just so, you know, I'm my own biggest demon. Mm-hmm. And there's a cheeky line in there where I'm kind of being inherently a little like sassy on purpose, but you know, the main line is you deserve better, but I guess not today. And it's, I know how I want to be, and I know who I want to be for you, but I can't get it out of me today. And so it's kind of an apology for those moments you fail people you care about or love. And you know, I hope most of the time there's some acceptance that comes with that. You know, luckily that's been my case. But yeah, I mean, that one's definitely a pretty direct letter to my partner. Just kind of addressing times I know I screwed up and knew I was screwing up, but you know, it still doesn't change how the things played out. And you know, almost a promise to do better again next time.
Yeah. So when it comes to your recording process, what is that like? Because I know you guys you've done like EPs and things like that before. What is it like recording a full-length album for you?
This was definitely a more intense version of it. When we did Postmortem, we had recorded that ourselves other than drums because it was still kind of pandemic-y. But that was how we got hooked up with Cody Ratley. I was like, okay, I have all these songs and I officially don't know what to do with them. I can't record drums. He kind of like took it over from there and then mixed and mastered that. So that got us kind of in the door with him. And we last summer recorded our song Past Life with him, knowing we wanted to build towards a full length, but also knew at that point we weren't quite ready. We didn't have enough songs yet. And so we were kind of like, hey, can we record this one, put it out as a single, kind of say like a record's coming and like we'll really dig into finishing this thing. And that was kind of how it went. So that came out in June. I think by October of last year, we came back to him and we're like, okay, we have a chunk of more songs. I think at that point we had 5 more songs. And, that was enough to, unfortunately, like all of us in the band and Cody, we all have full-time jobs. Mm-hmm. Cody's not like a full-time studio guy. So it was a lot of finding moments, weekends after work. Hey, I can get together at 8, that sort of stuff. Like, all right, let's go punch in. I think we did a whole day of drums. And then it was a lot of let's go hit guitars. And at that point, then I think we're sitting at like 6 songs and we knew we wanted at least 8. And it's kind of like never had happened to us before, but we're kind of under the wire a little bit. Like we're setting deadlines for getting the record out and it still wasn't finished being written yet. And we wrote False Spring and Right By Me pretty quickly. And like, it was wild to us that they're some of our favorite songs we have now. And they came together just so organically. It wasn't like this huge concerted effort or anything. It was just like getting together at practice, and we were already so much in the zone from having recorded and written all the other songs we were working on that we just felt dialed in. So those ones fell together. But it's a lot of, for us, it wasn't like all recorded live. It was, let's go capture the drums. And then we applied each of the guitars and a lot of those sounds, bass. And then Cody and I would take some time to go do all the vocals and stuff. And I guess the advantage that became was that when I'm recording vocals, there's a lot of like doubling up stuff, and you got to maybe take something a few times if you screw up a line. And that kind of limits me to doing like 2 or 3 songs in a recording session because I'll blow out my voice. And it kind of worked well that we timed it out that way, where it was like, all right, we have these chunk of 5 songs. Other things can be getting done on those while we're still writing these other songs. And then by the time it's time to record those other ones are going to be done, and, it's kind of so on and so forth. And it worked out that way. It worked out well. And then in particular for this album, we had it professionally mastered for the first time because we knew we wanted to do vinyl. We've heard a million horror stories about not getting vinyl mastering and having those turn out terrible. So that was kind of the production process there.
Yeah. Do you guys have any like funny stories or chaotic things that kind of happened for you when it came to recording any of these things?
Yeah. There was just like shout out to Cody. I mean, he really put up with a lot from us, especially again as a guy that doesn't like do this full time. But yeah, in January, we're kind of getting down to the wire on a timeline with some of the stuff, and we needed to have these in hand by March. So this is like 2 months before we needed to be done. And there were some things that needed to be finished. I can't remember if it was guitar or vocal things. And somewhere in there, he got like full on influenza. Like he got influenza, and then that led to COVID. And then not only did he get COVID, but then his roommate got COVID, and some of this was getting recorded in his house. So then we couldn't go into his house. And it was brutal for like the month of January. It was like, Cody, we got to get in there. And I remember we were on a phone call and he was like, dog, I'm literally on my deathbed, I can't right now. And, he, as much as we all like, there was days where it was like drop of a hat, we got to get in there tonight or this thing isn't getting done on time. He and we all made the sacrifices necessary to make it happen. So big shout out to him. But yeah, one of the crazier parts of recording was definitely quite literally nearly killing our friend trying to record the record.
Oof. I feel like you should have gotten him like a hazmat suit or something like that for Christmas or something like that.
I'm pretty sure it got thrown out there. Like, how do we still get in there? Yeah. Even though he's dying. Yeah.
Yeah. So going to the album cover itself, what is, I guess, not the story, but why did you guys decide to use the bouquet of flowers as your album cover?
I can't say enough how weirdly, like I do a lot of our art direction. I have sort of a design background. I do a lot of our flyers. I have done all of our previous album art, and for this record, I knew I wanted to like collaborate with the community a little bit more. I'm not an illustrator. I can't draw. I don't have that skill. So I knew I wanted to work with a few people, and I had that vision of a bouquet overgrowing a frame. And it's kind of a two-part thing for me in that the flowers are, partially who you are, who I am. It's, representation of self in a sense. And there's a lot that makes up why that's so beautiful. It overgrowing the frame definitely was some commentary for me on my therapy journey. And, there's a lot of commentary throughout that process about reframing how you look at things. And I kind of kept having this vision of if I'm the bouquet and I'm succeeding at what I'm trying to do in therapy, I am reframing, and at the same time, I'm overtaking that frame. And we've done so much organic commentary with the band over the years. A lot of our shirts have had flowers and plant stuff on them. I wanted this record to be, we even kicked around Overgrown as an album name for a moment.
Ooh.
Just because it kind of like played well with that album art, and some of the commentary I thought I was making is like, I felt like I had achieved some of the peace and calmness I've wanted my whole life. And so I worked with local photographer Sam Ergani, is a close friend of ours. He's done our music videos and shoots live for us pretty often. He shot the background and the frame. We had a whole set that I built in my basement, is all real imagery that we had staged. And then we worked with a local artist named Lee. And they've done a bunch of cool art for other bands in the area. And I knew, they've done like fish and birds. And so I already knew they had like a nature background. And so they were the first and only person I talked to about doing this project. And I really thought they delivered. Yeah, the like textures they put in the flowers are so great. There's like a lot of depth. And it was very collaborative. I mean, I came with like, I had a photo of a bouquet. My friend's a florist. I took a photo of a bouquet of hers, and I mocked it in Photoshop to drop it into this frame that we had already taken the photo of. So I was able to like give them this pretty good reference piece as far as like, I like these colors. This goes well with the background I picked. Like, can you help me realize this vision? And that was how that all came together.
That is awesome. I love that. I love that you went to someone in your community and got them to design an album cover for you. That's so cool. My name is Abby Hawkey. You are listening to 89.5 KQAL's The Sound. I am joined here by Dylan Mazurkiewicz of post-hardcore screamo band Garden Home, and this is the song Imposter, which is off of Garden Home's debut self-titled full-length album. And yeah.
Faster
That was Imposter, which is by the band Garden Home, which is from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And I have their lead singer and guitarist, Dylan Mazurkiewicz, on the phone with me right now. And they are discussing their new full-length self-titled album. So this song, Imposter, you use the term you a lot in this song. Is the you are referring to someone specific? Are you talking to yourself? Is this like an inward kind of a you? Or, yeah, like who is the you that you are referring to?
I inherently want to leave it a little ambiguous to be determined by the listener, there's a lot of, throughout the entire record, I'm constantly talking about I and me and my perspective. And yeah, that is like the one time that I kind of flipped the commentary that way. When that was written, it was a reference to somebody that was sort of around my circle at that time. And they had been pretty exposed for just lying about everything underneath the sun. And, I was like, here I have this growth-based record and I really want to keep it that way. And, I was like, I kept kicking around, like, do I make the song I'm an Imposter? Like, do I change the perspective on it when I was writing it? And it just like didn't feel right. It felt really like self-deprecating. And really my prompt throughout that song is don't be a liar. Be true to yourself. And so, the reference there was about, somebody I knew and how they really blew it socially by just painting this incredibly elaborate lie for like a year. But I wrote it that way to also be a reminder to myself and to others that it's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
We did get a lot of people making jokes about Among Us. Everyone was like, pretty bold to name a song Imposter after that game came out.
But a lot of people are like, this one seems sus to me. But
yeah.
What are some of your musical influences? Like, what music are you listening to right now?
Me specifically?
Or just, I guess you specifically, the band, Yeah, I would say that, like, the reference we've always made is that like our sound is very like the 2010s post-hardcore stuff that was big. It was kind of what we all connected on when this band even started. I'm talking bands like Title Fight, Sea Haven, Basement, Balance and Composure. But then there's also a bunch of like goofy stuff that I think a lot of us have in common. Like I think a pretty agreeable artist that we all like is like Tyler, the Creator. So there's also like a little bit of pop and hip hop influence. JD, our drummer's super into hip hop, and I feel like some of that is evident throughout the record. So we're all definitely pulling inspirations from a variety of places. Another band I should reference is like Touche Amore. Still love that band, and I've kind of joked that we are Touche Amore songwriting with Title Fight production, like because those guys are so into their tone. They do it really well. Like the records sound immaculately, but I feel like we just took a lot of those bands I listed and turned up the screamo dial. More than a lot of them were doing back in those days. And it's kind of nice. It's let us like exist in a little bit of an ambiguous place. We can fit in with like metal bands. We can fit in with emo bands. We can fit in with hardcore bands. And so it's been fun to kind of have like a lot of different influences be evident throughout our music. But currently I am having a brat summer. I'm officially on the train. There's a band in Indiana I want to shout out because I did really love their record this year. It was A Modest Proposal. Ooh.
Just put out a new record, and if you're into a lot of those bands I just referenced, their record is another great entry in that category.
I mean, personally, I haven't heard of a lot of the bands that you just mentioned, but I'm always here to, learn more music and just expand my horizons, so I will definitely check some of them out.
Do you have Title Fight? Are you familiar with them?
Probably not, but
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
I
that's
know.
the one. Yeah, like that's your first assignment.
Okay.
Yeah. Go check out Floral Green, their second to last record.
Ooh, okay. All right. Honestly, I will probably write that down right now. Okay. Sweet. Okay. For me personally, I believe a rock band, any rock band, is good if it creates a great album, but it becomes truly great when it has amazing stage presence. What do you guys do to get yourself amped up before going on stage?
I know JD and I are pretty smart about stretching. We've definitely thrown out our necks and backs enough times to want to emphasize that. I do vocal warm up stuff. I'm not too intense about it, but I'll do some humming and stuff to get myself loose. Quite literally, I will just jump. I'll just start like jumping in place to try to like get my heart rate up a little bit. And then I know kind of collectively and across the board, usually a beer or two is good to get us a little loose and feeling a little more comfortable on stage and help with the nerves. But, also like at a certain point, I think we've come to learn you get enough reps under your belt. It starts to get a little second nature. You're comfortable, and not necessarily in a bad way, but there's just ways you discover you can interact with each other when you're not constantly focused on what am I playing at the moment, and you can kind of exist in the moment a little bit more.
Yeah. Do you guys have a favorite venue you've played so far as a band?
I gotta give a big shout out to Cactus Club in Milwaukee. Is a really important place. That's where we had our album release show. And they do a lot of cool, just LGBT friendly, harm reduction, education. Like they're just a beacon for the community, for like arts and community. And then we played Howard's Club H for Coachella in June, and that was a pretty cool venue. They had like a sidebar stage and then more of a main stage, and it was honestly really fun to see shows on both stages. And people who came to that event were just really into the music and participating, and so that was definitely a pretty special memory.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cactus Club sounds fantastic. I know that they're really important, and I hope that there come to be more and more places like that just around the world. My name is Abby Hawkey. You're listening to 89.5 KQAL's The Sound. I am joined here by Dylan Mazurkiewicz of post-hardcore screamo band Garden Home. And this is False Spring from their debut self-titled full-length album here on 89.5 KQAL.
Back to second that I've ever had, and will likely never get to have again. I'm thankful to have called you my friend, and I hope in another life I'll see you again. At least now I know where my place is, and that no love given is ever wasted.
And that was False Spring by Garden Home here on 89.5 KQAL. I am Abby Hawkey, and you are listening to The Sound. We are here with Dylan Mazurkiewicz, who is the lead singer and guitarist for this awesome band. And he is here to discuss their new self-titled album. Speaking of False Spring, who is speaking at the end of this song? Why did you decide to include that here?
It's a good question. I had like this long chunk of stuff written. In fact, all of it didn't even end up fitting in that end portion. But I had this, we were sitting in practice and we were playing that song, and I just like had this moment of inspiration, and it was definitely just like a gratitude moment. And I remember the guys being like, "Yo, get off your phone. Like, let's get back to work." And I'm like, I have to write this down. Like, I'm having an inspiration moment. And so I like rattled off this huge list of just like gratitude stuff. And I knew I wanted to put that at the end of the song. And I kept kind of going back and forth between, should I scream it or should I kind of like speak it? Just because the moment in the song kind of called for a calmer approach. And I think Cody, if I remember correctly, was kind of like, well, do both and like, let's see how it turns out. And I read it in that kind of broken, almost like spoken word poetry kind of sense. It would be hard to not give a nod to the band La Dispute. A lot of their music is definitely pretty on that like spoken word heavy sort of approach. And so there was a little bit of inspiration pulled from those guys. And yeah, I just knew I wanted to be able to like have the listener be able to like hear and understand what I was saying more clearly. But then, we followed it up with like my screaming take. And I kind of liked how the timing of what I had said in the different versions didn't line up because of how hard I'm belting it when I'm screaming.
Yeah.
And I thought it ended up like a cool juxtaposition of just, add some like passion to that moment, and energy, like I said, is something that we're usually trying to like recreate. So usually when we do it live, I'm still screaming that portion, but, I just wanted to have this like really heartfelt farewell on the record.
Yeah. What do you do to keep your voice from like, I guess, giving out on you? I know you said you do like vocal warm-ups and stuff like that. Do you like do anything else? No,
I actually I always remember being really amazed that Kurt Cobain, the singer of Nirvana, smoked cigarettes. And I was like, man, he's got kind of a great voice, but he's also got that like gravel in his voice. And I was like, man, like, how's that not screwed his stuff up? And I don't smoke cigarettes. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
But I do damage my voice in other ways with that. And my mom, maybe it's something genetic. She's got kind of a crazy, weird, raspy, low voice. And yeah, I just like discovered in high school that I could do this thing. And I've been dumb many times. I've totally hurt myself. I've totally blown it out. I can think of an instance where like we played a show where we got pretty drunk and we were drinking IPA beers all night, which are like inherently really dry. And I screwed up my voice so hard. There was like 3 months where I literally was like, I don't know if I can do it anymore. I might have like permanently lost this. And kind of ever since that one where I felt like I was losing it, I've been much better about like, I drink tea now at gigs. I'll usually make it like hours before so that it's like room temp. And then I'll also pour a water way in advance that is also room temp. It's like nice neutral temperature is good for you that way. But then, yeah, other than that, some humming, vocal warm-up stuff. I do a little bit more in the studio just because Cody gets pretty serious about it. But I spend maybe 10, 15 minutes warming up, and then, I drink those drinks, and usually I also have a beer on stage. So I can't say I have any sort of secret. It's just tea.
Yeah. Yeah, I work at a tea shop, so that's awesome. And also, if you guys want to, another thing of merch you can do is if you guys make your own, like, you can make I know that chamomile is very good for your voice, and, like, honey and things like that. You guys could, like, grow your own kind of tea and sell it in, like, a little baggie or something like that. That'd be interesting.
That is pretty cool. Yeah, that's a smart idea. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's it's putting the whole, garden, it's like Garden Home's garden sort of situation.
Putting the garden in the home.
Yeah. So what's next for you guys? Are you guys, I know you just released your album. I'm guessing you're going to be doing a lot more shows and some touring, some stuff like that. What's next for you?
Yeah, we played 2 festivals earlier this year and toured for those a bit. But I leave the country for 2 weeks soon, and that was, interfering with being able to book things for pretty much the whole month of August. And then our drummer gets married in October. Shout out to JD and Emma. But that also has complicated some of our availability towards the end of the year. So we packed it in really hard earlier in the year when the record came out. In the next few weeks, we're recording another music video with Sammer for The Worst of It. And then we have a 2-day thing with Moose Creek Park. We're going to be in Chicago and in Lansing, Michigan. We're doing a little run with them in October. We've got maybe a smattering of local shows as well. Nothing, not very many though, 2 or 3. And then a big goal I want to do for next year is I want to get us out to the East Coast. I have family out in New York. I feel like Philly is like a hardcore mecca. So I want to get us to some of those like bigger cities out on the East Coast. And so that's a goal for next year. And then I have an idea I'm pretty excited about for our next release to be some sort of EP. But until we actually get to writing, I won't say much more than that. But yeah, we do have ideas for more music.
Where can we listen to the newest album for you?
It's available on all the streamings, Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal. We're on Bandcamp. It's on SoundCloud. We are active on Twitter and Instagram, and usually you can find us acting a fool on one of those things. And that's definitely a good way to find out if we have new stuff coming.
Yeah. You guys have any merch or anything that anyone can purchase?
We very recently did. I closed the store on Monday just because I'm leaving now.
Yeah.
But typically, you can find stuff on our Bandcamp, and perhaps after JD's wedding passes and stuff, and we can get back to being a regular band a bit more again. I already have some ideas for new shirts and stuff. I do a lot of the design stuff that way too. So yeah, I would imagine we'll have new things coming around shortly here.
That's awesome. That's cool. It was really awesome to talk with you here today. And listen to some tunes and just have fun. I hope you have an amazing time in Peru. That's going to be awesome. And so thank you very much for being here with us today.
Yeah, thank you, Abby. Appreciate your time, and shout out to your team there, and just thanks for including us. We really appreciate the recognition from states away, and it was a very nice talk. So thank you, Abby.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. I'm Abby Hawkey. You're listening to 89.5 KQAL's The Sound. You were just heard from Dylan Mazurkiewicz of post-hardcore screamo band Garden Home, and this is the last song that I have for you today, and also my personal favorite song off of their new self-titled debut album. This is Worst of It here on KQAL 89.5. Thanks again to Dylan Mazurkiewicz for joining us tonight on The Sound. To hear more from Garden Home, check out merch, and get updates on future shows, find them on Bandcamp. For more deep dives into local and regional albums, tune into The Sound every Wednesday night at 6, right here on 89.5 KQAL. You can also listen to past episodes of The Sound on your favorite streaming services. Find links at kqal.org. I'm Abby Hawkey, and we've just heard from Dylan Mazurkiewicz from Garden Home on The Sound.
Thanks for listening to The Sound. The Sound is produced by KQAL-FM on the campus of Winona State University. Visit us online at kqal.org. Theme music for The Sound provided by Mike Terrell of Fires of Denmark.